Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Cheltenham Racecourse here on day two of the festival. It is Wednesday, the 15th of March, 2023. We're going to look at almost all the races on the program from Cheltenham, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. The second day of the festival, some good races today, as is tradition with all my Cheltenham previews in the last 10, 12, almost 14 years now. I don't look at the the champion bumper. It's the worst race of the week, I think, as a handicapper to bet with. I watch it as a fan, but I just don't like betting it. So we're going to skip over that race. So we're going to look at the first six races on this program from Cheltenham. Starting off with the first race, the 2:30, which is the Grade 1 Ballymore Novices Hurdle. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $162,000 purse. Race for novice 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses, going 4,200 meters or 2 miles and 5/8 over the hurdle course. Going to take the 5-horse Hermes Elaine as the top selection. Let's go 5-7-3 in your TriCash trifecta. 573 TriCash Trifecta, top selection of 5-horse Hermes Elaine, 6-year-old gelding here. Paul Nichols trains. Harry Copeland gets the mount. Horse's most recent outing came New Year's Eve at Newbury, 2 miles 9/16 in the Grade 1 Shallow Novices Hurdle. And the horse was jumping a terrific race. He won by 4 3/4 lengths that day. He settled well, he jumped up well, he quickened up nicely, and could have probably won around another 5 times. That was a good run. Coming here off the bench on yielding ground, which I think he should adore, I think he could run that good race to win today. Two back, he ran here at Cheltenham on the 11th of November on quite fast ground. It was good, but it could have been probably rated firm. 2 miles 5/8 in the Grade 2 Ballymore Novices Hurdle, and he won by 9 lengths that day. And again, he was on cruise control. He jumped well, he quickened up nicely. Another very easy race there. And first start for the new connections at Stratford on the 15th of October. 2 miles 3/4 in the Class 4 National Hunt Main Hurdle. He won by 27 lengths that day, and it was a blowout victory for him. He did everything right and more against those lesser quality horses. He's definitely been on the improve with every single race. Coming here today back to Cheltenham, where he ran one of his best races lifetime. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket. Place pot horse could be the 7-horse Impair et Pass for Paul Town and Willie Mellons. Most recently, they ran the horse in the Moscow Flyer Novice Hurdle at Punchestown on heavy ground, 2 miles in mid-January, where he won by 6.5 lengths, and he had to be used a little bit that day, but he still got the job done easily there, and then made a hurdle at Nace over the 2 miles and 3/8, or excuse me, 2 miles and 3/8. He won by 18 lengths. First start for the new connections. Again, first start in 6 months. It was another very easy run. He's going to have this biggest challenge here today, but I think he can get around the race course well. Like I said, I'll use him in the plays pot. But to recount my selections for the first, the 1:30 from Cheltenham, it's Grade 1 Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Let's take the 5-horse Hermes Lane as a top selection. Give kudos to the 7-horse Impair et Pass. Pardon me, my French is horrible. You should just wait until my Longchamp previews. It's going to be even horrible there. But 5-7-3 TriCash Trifecta, 5-7 in your multi-race. Let's get to the second. The 2:10, the second race from Cheltenham. It's the Grade 1 Brown Advisory Novices Chase. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses, going for a $217,500 purse. Races for novice 5-year-olds and upwards, which are allotted a rating of assessment of 120 or more by the BHA handicapper. We have a field of 11 horses going the distance of ground here of 4,800 meters or 3 miles over the Chase course. Gonna take us a top selection here, the number 8 horse, the Real Whacker. I'm going to go 8-4-7 in your TriCash Trifecta. 8-4-7 TriCash Trifecta, top selection 8-horse, the Real Whacker. The 7-year-old gelding by Mahler here. Patrick Neville trains one. Sam Twiston Davies gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came New Year's Day here at Cheltenham. 2 miles and 5/8 in the Grade 2 Paddy Power Novices Chase, and he went by 3 1/4 lengths that day. He had a very low weight, which suited him well. He settled well. He quickened up nicely after jumping a terrific race, and went away with it. A very good run. He's coming back to the chases, back to a longer trip, which I think he should absolutely adore. And I think this puts him in a good spot to find the winners enclosure today off of that very good run last time out against some tougher horses. Last time before that, two back on the 13th of November, he ran here at Cheltenham on good ground, more like fast ground, firm ground, 3 miles in a Class 2 Novice Chase, where he won by 3/4 in length that day, and he basically won for fun. He could have probably won by more, but a lot of horses just weren't handling the hard going that day. But he jumped well, went away with it. A very good race there. But his seasonal reappearance came over the hurdles here at Cheltenham, which wasn't a success. 3 miles in a Class 3 handicap hurdle. He finished 11th by 50 lengths that day, and he never jumped well. He completely hit the wall. That was a head scratcher. He should have did a lot better than he did that day. And then at Doncaster last January of 2022, 3 miles in the Grade 2 River Don Novices Hurdle. He finished second by 2 lengths behind Mahler Mission. He needed something more late, but he still got down the race course well. Not the world's worst race for him. He's definitely been on the improve with every single race. Coming here off a little bit refreshing. Likes the course here. I'm going to give him a shot. I think our second likeliest winner here is the 4-horse Jerry Colbert. Jordan Gainford's on this one for Gordon Elliott. Most recently in the Scilly Isles Novices Chase at Sandown over the 2.5 miles last month. He won by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and he didn't have the fluidest races that day. He wasn't 100%, shall I say, keeping the straight course. And he just, but he got the job done. It wasn't the flashiest victories, but he got the job done. But he's going to have to stay a little bit more fluid here today against some tougher horses. Two back in a Grade 1, Fahey Novices Chase at Limerick, 2.5 miles on the 26th of December. He won by 4.5 lengths that day, and he kept going. He was on the drive most of the race, but he jumped well, quickened up nicely. A very good race from there. And then Ferry House in mid-November, first start in 11 months, first start of the Chases in a beginner's chase. He won by 2 1/4 lengths, and he won for fun. A very good race. Going to the 3 miles shouldn't be a problem. I like him here today, but like I said, he's going to have to keep a fluid race, and he's going to have a good run in. At 8 to 5, if he does that, he could definitely win. I use on the place pot for me. But to recount my selection for the 210, the second race from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 2 Brown Advisory Novices Chase. I'm going to take the 8-horse, the Real Whacker, as a top selection. Give kudos to the 4-horse, Jerry Colobert. Where are we? 847 tricasta trifecta, 8-4 in your place pot. Let's get to the third event from Cheltenham. The 250, the third race from Cheltenham, it's the Coral Cup Handicap Hurdle. It's a premier handicap hurdle for Class 1 horses, going for a $120,000 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 26 horses entered to go 20. What's the distance? 4,200 meters or 2 miles and 5/8 over the hurdle course. I'm gonna take here the 10-horse Captain Conby as a top selection. Let's go 10-15 in your forecast exacta. Yes, I know. Giving out an exacta forecast in a 20-horse field or 26-horse field. I know it's crazy. We'll do it, but you definitely use them both in the place or quad pot here and do small each ways. But my top selection would be the 10-horse Captain Conby, 6-year-old gallon by Conduit. Keith Donahue gets the mouth on this one. Horse hasn't been seen since the New Year's Eve card at Punchestown. 2 miles 7/16 in Class 2 handicap hurdle, and he finished second by 1 3/4 lengths that day. He needed something more late, but he was getting around the race course well. Not the world's worst race for him. Refreshing here against tougher horses. I think he could get a trip to win and run a good race. Carrying 160 pounds in this race, I think is a good competitive weight for this one. Two back around the 20th of November at Punchestown, 3 miles in a handicap hurdle, and he finished third by 2 3/4 lengths that day, and he just still needed something more. Maybe the ground was just a little bit too fast for him. It was a yielding, but it was the faster side of yielding, and he just needed something more there. And then prior to that, seasonal reappearance on the 8th of November at Ferry House, soft ground, 2.5 miles in a handicap hurdle. He finished second by 2 1/4 lengths that day, and he had a little bit of a high weight. The winner just out jumped him, but this horse got around the race course well. Refreshing here off the little bit of a break. I'm gonna give him a shot. I think your second likeliest winner is the 15-horse Bold Endeavor for Nika de Boinville and Nicky Henderson. Most recently ran in the Reynolds Town Novices Chase at Ascot, 3 miles on the 18th of February on lightning fast ground. He finished second by 7.5 lengths that day, and he just couldn't keep up there. He's getting serious class relief. Back to the hurdles today. Also, down to a handicap. He has a good low weight of 157 pounds, which I think it should suit him well. Two back, he ran in a novice limited handicap chase at Doncaster over the 2 mile 9/16, and he won by 7 lengths. A little bit of a high weight that day, but he was under the drive, excelling, quickened up nicely. A very good race from there. And then in early December at Leicester, 2.5 miles in a Class 3 handicap chase, he won by nearly a half a dozen, and could have probably won by more. With a enormous weight of 168 pounds on his back, he just kept going, refreshing back to a hurdles race today. I'm going to give him a shot with some class relief. But to recount my selection for the third, the 250 from Cheltenham, it's the Coral Cup Handicap Hurdle. Let's take the 10-horse Captain Conby. Give kudos to the 15-horse Bold Endeavor. 10-15 forecast exacta. Use them both in the place or quad pot here. Let's get to the featured fourth race now from Cheltenham. The fourth race, the 330 from Cheltenham, it's the featured Grade 1 Queen Mother Champion Chase. It's a Grade 1 event for Class 1 horses going for a $480,000 purse race for 5-year-olds and upwards. 7 horses are going 3,200 meters or 2 miles over the chase course. I love here as a top selection the number 4 horse Angername. I always say his name wrong. Pardon me. I'm gonna go 463 in your TriCash trifecta. 463 TriCash trifecta. Top selection fours and Gunnar May. This 9-year-old gelding by Denham Road. Willie Mullins trains. Paul Townend gets the mount. The horse's most recent Anakin, 20th of January at Cheltenham. 2 miles in the grade one, Albert Bartlett, Clarence House Chase, and he finished third by 6.5 lengths that day. I do think it would have been a little bit better running around at Ascot, but he just never really got going. Never had the turn of foot. He was just a little bit flat that day. Coming here off the bench, and a little bit more time between races, I'm going to give him another shot. I think this is the race to a point to like last season. I think he could get a better trip than he did at Cheltenham here last time. Two back ran on the 11th of December at Cork, 2 miles and 8th in the Grade 2 Bar 1 Racing Way Chase, Hilly Way Chase, and he won by 15 that day, and it was 11 cents to the dollar favorite. He just took off clear. Very, very easy run from there. And then last year's champion Chase at Punchestown over the 2 miles to 26th of April. Fast ground. He won by 8.5 lengths that day. And he could have probably won around another 5 times and won quite easily. The second place finisher, Chacon de Persois, a decent horse, and Envoy Lane, who's the third place finisher. They just wasn't getting to him there. And then here last year in the champion in the Queen Mother over the 2 miles in soft ground. He won by 8.5 lengths that day. And again, he basically put on a show. It was one of the best performances of the festival last year. It was his best race of his life there. And before that in the Clarence House at Ascot on soft ground, he lost behind Shishkin that day. That was a day when Shishkin was, or at a time when Shishkin was basically the best horse over the jumps, it seemed, in the division. But I think that now there's a different one. He's going up here in age, but I think he could get the job done here at 8-5. I'm going to use him. Small upset chance could be the 6-horse Grenadine for Harry Cove and Paul Nichols. I do like the place last time out in the Game Spirit Chase at Newbury over the 2 miles, where he finished third by 4.5 lengths that day. I do think he needed the race there, but I think with the quick turnaround here to Cheltenham, he should really get the better trip. Before then, the Tingle Creek at Sandown behind Edwardstone, he had a decent second place finish. If he would have, had a better trip in the final few fences, mainly the final one, he could have gained a little bit more marginally. He wasn't going to win, but he still got around the race course well than that final hurdle. And then the Holding Gold Cup at Exeter over the 2 miles 9/16 on firm ground. He won by 7. And again, even with the high weight, he put on a show. Coming here today, weirder things have happened, but and Grename I think is your most likeliest winner. But I'll use Grenadine as your small each way and on the place pot or quad pot ticket. But to recap my selection for the 3:30, the fourth race from Cheltenham, it's Grade 1 Queen Mother Champion Chase. Let's take the 4-horse and Grename. Give kudos to the 6-horse Grenadine. Where are we? 4-6-3 TriCash trifecta, 4-6 in your multi-race. Let's get to a very exciting race and the most scenic race of the week from Cheltenham, the 5th race. The 4:10, the 5th race from Cheltenham, it's the Glenfarclas Chase. It's a cross-country chase for Class 2 horses, going for a $90,000 purse race for 5-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 16 horses entered to go 6,000 meters or 3 miles and 3/4 on the cross-country course. One of the most aesthetically pleasing races of the week. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 9 horse, Franco de Port. Let's go 9-4 in your forecast exacta. 9-4 forecast exacta. Top selection 9 horse, Franco de Port. 8-year-old gun by Coastal Path. Willie Mullins trains one. Patrick Mullins gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 4th of February at Leopardstown, yielding ground 3 miles in the Irish Gold Cup, and he finished 5th by 16 lengths that day. And, he moved a little bit late. He got around the race course decently, but, he got beat by better horses. Way down the class ladder, he's going to tougher obstacles, but I think he can, get the job done. 2 back in the Grade 1 Savills Chase at Leopardstown, 20th of December over 3 miles. He finished 4th by 6 3/4 lengths that day, and he just needed something more. He was jumping decently, but I also think he wanted the longer trip there. And then at Atoya on the 3rd of December, 2 miles 3/4 in the Grade 2 Prix Georges Courtois race. He finished 5th by 31 lengths and had a few mistakes. He just couldn't get around the very heavy going in Paris. And then the Grade 1 Prix La Hoye Jocelyn Chase. Pardon me again, my French is horrible. 3 miles 3 furlongs on the 13th of November. He finished 5th by 9.5 lengths. He got beat by better horses on the day. It was a good Grade 1 over the hurdles or over the chases in Paris. He's not facing nearly as tough horses today. Even with the the more demanding course, I think he get around there well, and I think he will win just off the class relief alone. So I'm going to use him here. I think your second likeliest one is the 4-horse Delta Work for Keith Donahue and Gordon Elliott. He's not the old man he once was, but he won his seasonal reappearance at Punchestown in the cross country very nicely in November. Came back to run here in January. We had a decent third place finish. Took him to after that to the Boyne Hurdle at Navan, where he just wasn't really excelling. I think they probably wanted to get a race under his belt. His hidden form from a few seasons ago can win this. I didn't think the race here in January was half bad, but I think he's going to get bet at evens here as a morning line. But he definitely can win on the ticket. I think, Franco Port is a more likely winner with class relief, and also he's been on the up and up even with those tougher horses, even in defeat. I think Delta Work seems like his form's going a little bit slightly backwards recently, but like I said, his hidden form can win on paper. Also, I'll use him in the play spot or the quad pot, but I do prefer the other one before him. But to recap my selection for the 410, the fifth race from Cheltenham, it's the Glenfarclas Chase. Let's take the 9-horse Franco Port. Get kudos to the 4-horse Delta Work. 9-4 Forecast Exacta. Use them both in the place or quad pot. Probably going to play the quad pot here. So let's get to the 6 from Cheltenham. The sixth race, the 450 from Cheltenham, it's the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual Challenge Cup Handicap Chase. It's a premier handicap chase for Class 1 horses going for that $150,000 purse. Race for 5-year-olds and upwards. 20 horses are going 3,200 meters or 2 miles over the chase course. I'm going to take here the 9-horse Epsom de Hoy as a top selection. Let's go 9-2 in your Forecast Exacta, 9-2 Forecast Exacta. Top selection 9-horse Epsom de Hoy. The scenario gun by Diamond Boy. Henry de Bromhead trains. Rachel Blackmore gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing the 14th of January at Ferry House. 2 miles and 8th in a handicap chase, and she finished third by 13 lengths that day. And he just never really got going. On the soft ground, he just needs something more. Refreshing here back to these quality horses. I think the horse get the better trip to win. 2 back at Cork on the 11th of December in the Grade 1 Hilly Way Chase at Cork, 2 miles and furlong. He finished second by 5 lengths, 15 lengths behind Angername that day. He wasn't catching him. He did get around the race course well, but he still needs something more there. But with it being his first start in just over a year, I thought it wasn't a bad race at all considered to the race before, which was the 14th of November 2021 at Cork. 2 miles and 8th in a handicap chase where he won by 4 lengths. His only start of the 22 campaign. He basically won it, half a mile from home where he kept jumping well. He quickened up also, and, he could have probably won by more. Still a very easy run there. And then final start of the 2021 campaign at Punchestown, 2 miles in a handicap chase. Finished 6 by 6.5 lengths that day. He needs something more. Maybe he wanted to stay a longer trip, but, he's had better races there. And then a Ferry House in the novice handicap chase in April 2021. He finished third by 4 lengths that day and just never really got going. Coming here with some class relief, I'm going to give him a shot here. His handicap could definitely win. I think the 2-horse Core Sublime is your second likeliest winner. The stablemate to this one gets Harvey up in the saddle, but with the 5-pound apprentice up, it's going to only carry 161 pounds, which I think suited this horse well. Most recently in the Grade 3 Newlands Chase at Naas over the 2 miles, he finished second by a neck, and he was really closing up well. He needs something more late, but I thought it was a good return to the races. And then prior to that, in the Paddy Rewards Club Chase at Leopardstown over the 2 miles in a furlong, he finished 4th by 14 lengths, and he just couldn't keep up there. But that was proper Grade 1 quality horses. And then in the Barberstown Castle Poplar Square Chase at Naas over the 2 miles in November, he didn't finish the race that they fell a few from home. What can you do? Just couldn't keep up there. And ran the race in 2022 at Punchestown in a novice chase over the Grade 1 horses. He finished second by a headband Blue Nord at 20-1. He kept jumping well, just missed, but not a bad run at all in fast ground. He ran the Oracle last year where he finished 7th by 28 lengths, where he had a few mistakes, especially at that last one, but refreshing here off some decent runs with some serious class relief from the horse he's been facing this season. At 10-1, it wouldn't surprise me. A definite used for your quad pot here. But to recap my selection for the 450, the 6th race from Cheltenham, it's the Grand Annual. Let's take the 9-horse Epsom de Hoy as a top selection. Give kudos to the 2-horse Core Sublime, 9-2 Forecast Exacta. Use them both in your place or quad pod. Now, like I said, the 550, the 7th race from Cheltenham, the Nightcap. the champion bumper. As is tradition, I don't look at it here on YouTube, and I just watch it as a fan. I just don't like betting the race because it's just not my favorite race to handicap or look at in the world, and so we're gonna skip over that. With that being said, remember to follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me tomorrow for my Cheltenham previews, and also throughout the week for my Cheltenham previews. Good luck, everybody.